Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're jumping into something, well, pretty extraordinary.
Definitely.
What if the building blocks of everything, the chemical elements, what if their structure wasn't figured out bit by bit in a lab?
Yeah.
What if it came in a dream? And, get this, what if that dream, plus some really recent science, points straight back to the creation story in Genesis?
Wow, okay. That's a big premise. It sounds almost like science fiction.
Right. But this is the core of Stan Mackey's work, Science, Dreams, and the Periodic Table of Elements. He argues it's not fiction at all.
Yeah, he lays out this really compelling case, trying to connect advanced chemistry, these sort of personal revelations, and ancient scripture. It asks you to look at science and faith maybe a bit differently.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack Stan Mackey's main idea, that the 7 horizontal rows in the periodic table, the periods line up perfectly with the 7 days of creation in Genesis 1.
And it's not just theory. We're going to talk about how the table itself supposedly came about, which is a wild story on its own, and how God might work in, well, unexpected ways. Plus, there's some new science, like really recent findings from the moon that seem to back this up.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. The periodic table. The man usually credited is Dmitry Mendeleev, a Russian chemist back in the 19th century.
Professor at St. Petersburg.
Right. So before him, what was the situation with elements? Was it just a big mess?
It really was kind of chaotic. Scientists knew about elements, sure, but there wasn't a system. Imagine just a random pile of puzzle pieces. Mendeleev was, by all accounts, obsessed with finding the pattern, the logic behind it all.
Spent years on it, right, trying different ways to organize them.
Yeah, absolutely consumed by it, trying to map things out, but nothing quite clicked until, well, the dream.
This is the core of it, not a slow discovery, but bam, the whole structure revealed in a dream.
That's the story. Stan Mackey cites this book, Mendeleev's Dream, where Mendeleev himself apparently said, "In a dream, I saw a table where all the elements fell into place as required. Awakening, I immediately wrote it down on a piece of paper." Just like that. The blueprint for modern chemistry, supposedly downloaded while he slept.
And the scientific community actually accepted it.
Largely, yes, because it works so well. It even predicted elements that hadn't been discovered yet. Its predictive power was undeniable.
Now, Stan Mackey adds another layer here. He brings up that Mendeleev was reportedly an atheist.
Right.
So why, according to Mackey, would God give this massive scientific revelation, one that seemingly aligns with Genesis, to someone who didn't believe?
That's a key part of Mackey's interpretation. He suggests God knew a future generation would be skeptical, demanding hard evidence, the show me type.
Okay.
So having this fundamental scientific framework come through a non-believer, well, it couldn't easily be dismissed as just wishful thinking or religious bias.
So it bypasses that potential criticism. It stands as objective evidence accessible to anyone.
Exactly. Evidence for a secular world, demonstrating divine design in a way that's hard to ignore, regardless of your starting beliefs.
That's quite a perspective.
Yeah.
And it ties into this whole idea of dreams as a way God communicates, doesn't it? Mendeleev wasn't the only one.
Not at all. The Bible's full of it. Joseph Daniel interpreting dreams. And Acts 2:17 explicitly says, "Your young men will see visions, your old men will dream dreams." It's presented as a known channel for divine messages.
And interestingly, Stan Mackey mentions the person who first told him about this periodic table Genesis connection, a teacher named Lorna Patterson.
Yeah.
She also got her insight about this correlation in a dream.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. So you have this chain, Mendeleev the chemist, Patterson the teacher, all supposedly receiving related insights through dreams.
Wow. Okay. That reinforces the idea that God isn't really limited in how he reveals things. It doesn't always have to be through traditional study or, prayer even.
All right. So let's get to the core mechanism. How exactly does Mackey say the 7 periods of the table match the 7 days of Genesis? What's the rule?
The fundamental rule is this. For any given day of creation, the elements needed for what was created on that day must be found either in the corresponding period number on the table or in periods before it.
Okay, so nothing needed for day 3 can suddenly show up only in period 5, for example.
Exactly. It's sequential. Each period adds the necessary ingredients for the next step in the creation narrative.
Got it. So day 1, let there be light. What's in period 1?
Just 2 elements, hydrogen and helium.
And how does that connect to light?
Well, think about how stars work, how our sun works. Nuclear fusion, hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium.
Right, releasing massive energy.
Exactly. releasing energy as light. So the very first period contains the exact two elements needed for the fundamental process that creates light in the universe. It's remarkably elegant.
Okay, that's pretty neat. Day 2. God separates the waters, creates the expanse, basically, the sky, the atmosphere, and the seas. Period 2.
Period 2, along with period 1, gives you the elements needed for air and water. Think about air, mostly nitrogen and oxygen, plus some carbon dioxide, maybe trace gases like methane, CH4. Water is H2O.
Okay.
All those key elements, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, plus hydrogen from period 1 are found in period 2 or earlier. The building blocks for the atmosphere and oceans are now in place.
Following the pattern. So day 3, dry land appears, and then vegetation. Plants. Period 3.
Yep. Period 3 plus what came before provides the elements common in the Earth's crust, in soil, rocks, and in plant life itself.
Like what?
Well, you've got aluminum and silicon, major components of the crust. Magnesium, important for chlorophyll in plants. Carbon, obviously the basis of organic life, is already there from period 2. Even things like silicon dioxide quartz, basically sand and rock, that's silicon from period 3, and oxygen from period 2. The foundation for land and life is set.
It's like a cosmic recipe unfolding step by step. Now, Mackey also talks about this containers and fillers idea. How does that fit?
Yeah, he points out this neat symmetry in the creation week itself, which he says mirrors the structure. Days 1, 2, and 3 are the containers. They create the realms or spaces.
Light, sky, sea, land, vegetation. Okay.
And days 4, 5, and 6 are the fillers. They populate those realms.
Ah, so day 1, light is the container.
And day 4, the creation of the sun, moon, and stars, the things that fill the cosmos with light, is the filler. They go together.
Okay, I see. So day 2, sky and sea.
Is the container for day 5, when God created the fish and the birds to fill the seas and the sky.
Makes sense.
And Mackey adds a nice touch there, points out the often brilliant colors of fish and birds reflecting the rainbow, a phenomenon of light and air and water. It's more symbolic maybe, but it fits.
And day 3, the land and vegetation.
That's the container for day 6. The land animals and humans who inhabit the land and depend on the vegetation. Humans made from the dust of the ground, connecting right back to day 3.
That's a really interesting structural parallel. Okay, now for what might be the most scientifically testable part of this. Day 4, period 4, and the moon.
Right. Day 4 is when the celestial bodies, including the moon, were created according to Genesis.
So, following Mackey's rule, the moon should only have elements from period 4 or earlier, nothing from period 5, 6, or 7.
That's the prediction. Because if the moon was formed on day 4, the elements from later days or periods wouldn't have been available yet in this elemental sequence.
And there was a very recent mission that actually tested this, right?
Exactly. This is where it gets really interesting. In August 2023, India's Chandrayaan-3 mission landed its Pragyan rover near the moon's south pole.
And it analyzed the surface composition.
It did. Using spectroscopy, it identified the elements present right there on the lunar soil. This was new, direct data.
So what did it find? What elements are on the moon, according to Chandrayaan-3?
Okay, the list reported was sulfur, aluminum, iron, calcium, chromium, titanium, manganese, silicon, and oxygen.
All right. And the crucial check, where do those elements fall on the periodic table?
Every single one of them, sulfur, aluminum, iron, all the way through oxygen, is in period 4 or earlier.
Seriously? No period 5 elements? No period 6?
None reported by the instruments in that analysis.
Yeah.
According to Stan Mackey, this is direct confirmation. The moon's composition, measured just last year, perfectly matches what his day 4, period 4 correlation would predict.
Okay, that is pretty compelling. It's hard to just wave that away as coincidence.
For Mackey, it's strong support for the idea that the periodic table isn't just a human invention, but reflects this deeper, divinely ordered pattern laid out in Genesis.
Wow. And this pattern, this correlation, it even extends to the very last day and the last period, day 7.
It does. Day 7 in Genesis is the Sabbath, the day of rest. God ceased from the work of creation.
Okay. And period 7 on the table, what's unique about those elements?
They are overwhelmingly radioactive. Many are highly unstable synthetic elements, too.
Radioactive, meaning they decay over time.
Yeah.
Right. They aren't stable.
Exactly. They are constantly changing, breaking down, seeking a more stable state. You could say, in a symbolic sense, they are looking for rest. They haven't achieved that final stability.
So the elements of the 7th period are defined by their inherent instability and their drive towards rest, mirroring the 7th day, the Sabbath, which is the day of rest.
It's a profound symbolic connection that Mackey highlights. It suggests This theme of work and rest is woven into the very nature of matter, right down to the heaviest elements.
Okay, so stepping back and looking at the whole picture, Mendeleev's dream, the table structure, Genesis, the moon landing data, what's the big takeaway here, according to Mackey?
The main point is that you have these seemingly separate areas, 19th century chemistry, ancient scripture, 21st century space exploration, all converging.
Uh-huh.
He argues it points towards an underlying divine intelligence and deliberate design in the universe. The order isn't accidental, it's built in, reflected in the very elements and confirmed by science, even science done by non-believers or secular missions.
So it suggests science and faith aren't necessarily opposed, but can actually complement and confirm each other in surprising ways.
Precisely. It's presented as evidence that the biblical account isn't just a story, but accurately describes a fundamental order that science is now, piece by piece, uncovering.
It makes you think about the universe differently, not just as random processes, but perhaps as something composed.
Yeah, like a symphony where the notes were written down long ago and we're just now starting to fully appreciate the score, thanks to instruments like Mendeleev's table and, well, lunar rovers.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really is something to ponder. This convergence, the dream, the table, Genesis, the moon, all aligning.
Quite a narrative.
It leaves you wondering if this kind of profound design is encoded in the basic elements, discovered in such an unusual way and backed up by modern tech. What other patterns might be out there? What other connections between science and maybe ancient wisdom are just waiting for us to notice?
That's the question, isn't it? It definitely encourages you to keep looking, keep asking questions, and maybe see potential connections where you didn't expect them. There could be more layers to uncover.